So have you heard of inZOI? It's an open-world life simulation game that's set to enter early access for everyone to play on March 28, 2025 for PC. Well, the company behind it, Krafton, sent me the code to the game 2 weeks early, so I've been exploring the game since then. Hello everyone, this is Abi aka onlyabidoang, and today I'll be showing you 18 huge features coming to the early access version of inZOI that you need to know. Let's get this out of the way first. This new open-world life simulation game will still be in early access and will be sold on Steam for $40 US. When you're watching this video, the game will probably already out. So yes, there's gonna be many bugs. Yes, many features are still missing. There are no swimming and swimming pools, no multitasking, no adoptions, and many others. The developers are still actively fixing the bugs and have released a roadmap detailing the new features coming during this early access period. And yes, the game is very demanding performance-wise. Here are the minimum specs required along with recommended settings for different graphic options. For this video, I'll be playing on an Asus ROG Zephyrus G16 laptop with these specs, with the graphics set too high on 180p resolution. Also, I apologize if there's any screen tearing in some of the footage in this video. My recording software decided to act up, but in actual gameplay, I didn't experience any screen tearing at all. Now let's get into these features. First of all is direct control. In inZOI, you can control your ZOIs, yes, that's what the people in the game are called, with WASD controls like any other third-person games. If you press shift while they move, they can also start running. Don't worry though, the usual point-and-click control is still the preferred main control in this game. You can change the camera from shoulder view to a more top-down view by pressing tab. Direct control can also be used up to 5 times speed, so you can pretty much move around like Sonic. The speed of the game can be adjusted from this control panel right here. Additionally, some objects that you may meet on the streets can also be messed around if you physically touch them since they have this physics for some reason. And yes, you can even directly control the toddlers in this game. As stated before, inZOI is an open-world game. There are 2 huge open-world cities that you can play in on the early access of the game. Dowon, a city based on Seoul, South Korea, and Blissful Bay, a city based on the US, specifically LA. There will also be a new city called Kuchingku, based on Indonesia, the country where I'm from, which will be available around August 2025. You can also explore the different parts of the world on foot without going through a loading screen, but if you go a bit too fast, you may witness objects and passerby popping in as you walk through since they need to load first. Keep in mind that not all buildings are enterable, only those marked in the map view. So you'll encounter shell buildings like these that you cannot enter. Additionally, if you don't want to manually walk to that area, there are different public transport options. You can take the subway in Dowon or the bus in Blissful Bay. These act like a fast travel option where you can teleport to different parts of the city. Unfortunately, you may have to go through a short loading screen if the destination is a bit too far. Also, if you go to the very edge of the world, this huge blue barrier will block your ZOIs from going further. If you have multiple ZOIs in your household, you can have up to 8 ZOIs in a household by the way, and they're scattered around different parts of the world, you may also have to go through a brief loading screen when you switch focus between different family members, but I seem to have found a way to bypass this. When focusing on a ZOI, move the camera slightly so that it's not focused on them, then select the other ZOI in your household from the portraits here and not by pressing the spacebar. After that, select this click to focus button and the camera will immediately shift focus to them without going through any loading screens. This is perfect if you have a bunch of ZOIs around town you want to control at once because the loading screen can get a bit annoying, and I dearly miss this feature so much. I love to micromanage my characters even if they're all far apart. Since this is still in early access, there may be times you're stuck somewhere. If that's the case, there's the option for an emergency rescue here. Click on the stuck ZOI and they will be teleported into a safe space. If you hate walking and public transport, then you may want to buy a car. To buy one, use your phone and go to this Dream Car app. There, you can choose the type of car you want as long as you have the budget. Choose the color you like and once you bought one, it will be safely parked right in front of your home. You can do all sort of things with it. You can wash it, open its trunk, repair it, or even take a selfie with it. But obviously, driving is what you're looking for. On the map view, click on the destination you want and now the option to drive there with your car will be available. Your ZOI will then drive their car and go through a brief loading screen first before arriving if the destination is a bit far, so it's basically like another way to fast travel somewhere. After you've arrived, your car will be returned back to your home. To summon your car again, just click on your ZOI and you can drive it again. But what if you want to manually drive your car? Well, in that case, you need to enable manual driving first in the settings since it's still an experimental feature. With this enabled, once your ZOI has entered their car, you can now freely drive your car with the WASD key. You don't even need to follow the rules. If you want, you can even go past through traffic lights, drive onto the opposite lane, or even on the sidewalk where the pedestrians are walking. Your car will also be blocked if you hit the world border. To honk the car, use the right click and this will alert nearby Zois to move away. While you're in the car, you can click other Zois to have them enter the car so you can have a road trip together, or forcefully kidnap a random Zoe and take them as your hostage. You can also use the call over function to have them hop on all at once. Additionally, if you hit other cars with a Zoe in it while in manual driving mode, road rages are also a thing and both of you will go out of the car and yell at each other. And yes, you can hit other Zoes with your car. They may only startle after you hit them if you drive slower, but once you have enough speed and directly hit another Zoe, well, this happens. Yep, they will go full on ragdoll physics and then die on the spot. This is one of the several ways Zoes can die in this game. And yep, this is an accident alright, not a vehicular manslaughter or anything, but sometimes instead of being yeeted to oblivion, they will just disappear out of thin air or even be teleported into another area after you hit them. I guess this is still pretty buggy. Unfortunately, the cops won't consider this as a crime, so you won't be thrown to jail for now. One more thing with cars, if you press tab while inside the car, you can go into first person view and drive the car as so if you prefer it that way. Weathers and seasons are also in inZOI. There are 4 seasons as usual: spring, summer, fall, and winter, and the climate for each season differs from each other. The world will also change visually on each season. For example, all the leaves on the tree will turn orange in fall. You can also assign Zoes their own summer and winter wear when creating them. You can check out the information regarding the current weather and temperature on this panel right here. The weather can either be sunny, cloudy, rainy, and snowy. When it's raining, other Zoes will use an umbrella. You can also do so by using this umbrella rack object here. If you don't use an umbrella, your clothing will get all wet. When it's snowing, all Zoes will wear outerwear when going out. You can even spot some snow on your Zoe's clothing. You can customize the current weather by going to the Edit City menu to temporarily change the weather to the one you've selected. Rainy and snowy weather have 3 levels of intensity. At the current stage of the game, there doesn't seem to be any significant gameplay feature with seasons and weathers. I don't think there's any interaction like creating snowman or having a snowball fight. They also seem to be doing fine wearing a swimwear while in the middle of a snowstorm. They don't even get a negative buff or some sort. I guess weather gameplay in general is still being worked on, but I gotta admit, the snow and rain in this game looks amazing. You can create your own poses and animations for Zoes simply by using pictures and videos. This feature can be accessed in both gameplay and character creation. To do this in live mode, click on your Zoe and go to this Make AI Emote option. This feature basically uses some sort of motion capture and AI to generate poses from pictures. For poses, choose a picture where only one person is in the image so it works properly. After you choose one, the game will generate the pose and not long after that, the pose will be produced to your Zoe. You can then name the pose and set the thumbnail for it. Later, you can use that pose in-game by clicking on the same emote category and your Zoe will use that pose. It's a pretty handy tool if you want your Zoe to pose in a certain way for a picture. For animations, instead of images, use videos as the source. Keep in mind that the video must include a full body shot of a single person and that the camera remains still for the best result. The game will process this for a longer time and once it's done, you can then use the animation in-game as your Zoe. I do think that this tool is still not perfect because it won't go into more detail regarding hand, finger, and facial movements, so you may still need to rely on custom poses made by others once mods are a possibility. Also, most of the animations made will result in the Zoe floating in the air, so I hope that it'll be fixed soon. As a life simulation game, Zoes can find their soulmate and propose to them. Once 2 Zoes are engaged, they can either get married on the spot or plan their own wedding. In the planning menu, you can set the wedding duration, location, dress code, and the recommended and prohibited actions for each role of the wedding. You can also assign the officiator, wedding party members, and wedding guests for the event. Once you've planned a wedding and it's already the scheduled time, your Zoes will be teleported straight into the venue you've assigned with the wedding guests and officiator also going there. It's a pretty adorable feature actually. You can have the newlyweds walk up the aisle with the wedding guests cheering on them, exchange rings, with each other letters, do a small wedding dance, walk down the aisle, sing a wedding song, throw a bouquet, and many more. You can also click on a specific action in this list to play that interaction immediately. You want the guests to do the custom animation you've just made? Well, go ahead, everyone's doing the Gangnam Style now. Also, if you're wondering, same-sex relationships are possible in inZOI, and this includes marriages and weddings as well. So go ahead and create your dream wedding here. Besides weddings, you can also plan 2 other social events from the phone or from the edit schedule window, which are parties and dates. And like before, it's pretty customizable. You can set the venue, event duration, dress code, and the preferred and prohibited activities in your events. For parties, your guests will then arrive to the assigned lot and perform the preferred activities if it's available. There are also certain scripted events that ZOIs can perform. And like before, you can command the party guests to perform certain activities as well. For dates, you can either ask someone on a date or plan a date together. The former will automatically give you a scheduled date with preset location, while the latter lets you customize the date yourself. Like before, you can set the preferred activities and location. The dating event also has their own scripted events you can perform, such as this picnic mat interaction. If certain interactions aren't available, you can hover over it to see what objects are required to perform it, and you can then later edit it in build mode to add said objects. This buy gift interaction, for example, requires you to have the flea market stand around, and it's such an adorable interaction. ZOIs can apply to different types of careers. You can either join a full-time or a part-time career, and there are two types of full-time careers: your regular career, where you cannot follow your ZOIs when they go to work, and active careers, where you can follow and control them in their workplace. Meanwhile, part-time careers are all active. Regular careers have this gray icon, while active careers don't. Different cities have different regular activities and active careers. In Dowon, you can join the firefighter or the idol entertainment industry as your active full-time career, while you can work in the deli or the convenience store for the active part-time career. Meanwhile, in Blissful Bay, you can work in the furniture store or the amusement park as your full-time career, or the surf shop or the fast food restaurant for the part-time career. Certain active careers can have the same workplace but with different areas that you can choose to work at. Like for example, in the amusement park, you can either work as the office employee, the field worker, or the cashier. Meanwhile, in the entertainment industry, you can either work as an idol trainee or the office employee. For the off-screen careers, once you're at work, you can choose the actions you want to do there by clicking here. You may also get these career pop-ups with decisions you need to make, which may affect your career performance. Meanwhile, for active careers, you'll get different tasks each day that you need to accomplish. If you do them accordingly and within the time limit, your career performance bar will go up. And once it's full, you'll get promoted the next day with additional new tasks available back at work. Not all careers have multiple positions though. Some part-time or even full-time careers only have one position with no possibility of promotions. And if I wanna be honest, the career tasks can get a bit repetitive each and every day. I mean, the firefighter career won't have your ZOI go out and put out fires as of now. All they do is work out, have meetings, and do computer work. And I don't think the idols can perform in stage right now. They only train and dance all day. I'm not sure if this is because I haven't played the career that long, but I hope the active careers will be fleshed out even more throughout the early access. Besides traits, preferences, urges, and ambitions, ZOIs have their own values. This feature is like traits and interests combined. There are 10 types of values, and each ZOI will usually have their value score set based on their traits and desired life after creation. Once you've reached a certain threshold on the type of value, your ZOIs will unlock new value-specific interactions, but in general, the value with the highest score becomes the ZOI's core value. This value can be changed based on their actions and decisions in gameplay, like if you do romance interactions a lot, you'll increase the love value. As stated before, each value unlocks new interactions for your ZOIs. For example, ZOIs with the safety value will be able to spray disinfectant on their bed before sleeping or test the fire extinguisher. If done, this makes them feel better afterwards. Meanwhile, ZOIs with the coexistence value can wash their clothing using natural detergents, which will give them a unique buff. Different values also unlock different social interactions, parenting method, interactions with certain objects, and many more. Values will also influence the way of life and the urges they will obtain, which is like their wants that can be fulfilled to get some reward points. ZOIs will also have their own karma system. This can be tracked on this karma meter right here. To influence your ZOI's karma, you need to do karma actions, which have this circular icon right here. The blue circle is a good karma action, while the red circle is a bad karma action. If you regularly perform good karmas, like showing direction to a lost passerby, donating, doing good deeds to others, and many more, your good karma meter will go up. You'll even unlock additional karma interactions if you reach certain good karma level. Other ZOIs that happens to meet you will also act nicer to your ZOI. And once your karma level is high enough, you can go to the karma report menu here through the edit city option and then intervene ZOIs with high karma as a way to complement them. If done, they will get this text message and you'll get to choose one of the 3 different blessings, which are family health, daily fortune, or even winning the next lottery you get. It's pretty overpowered if you ask me. The rags to riches challenge using the system will be far too easy now. Now for the bad karma. If you constantly perform bad karma actions with your ZOI, like mocking other ZOIs, littering, stealing, and many others. Your karma wheel will progress more into bad karma. As you delve deeper, you'll unlock even worse karma actions, such as knocking down other Zois to the ground or even straight up punching them in the face. Other Zois will also act mean to you when you're around. And finally, if you've reached into the worst karma level, you can use the same karma reward menu to scold the Zoe with the bad karma. I don't think doing this does anything else to my Zoe besides improving their karma to the good side a bit. Anyway, when a Zoe dies while in the terrible karma level, they'll be able to wander around as a ghost to atone for their bad deeds, but this feature is still in development, so it's not accessible at the moment. Also, if a Zoe has terrible karma, they may have to face this other serious consequence. If you constantly perform bad stuff, like having a terrible karma, constantly provoking other Zoes, or doing illegal things like hacking into the ATM machine, the police may appear to literally arrest your Zoe. They may also come after a passerby catches you doing these actions and then reports it through their phone. Once caught by the police, your Zoe will then be transported into the police station and spend time in jail. Yep, you can go to jail in this game. They need to spend time for around a day there to reflect on themselves and cannot go anywhere. Don't worry though, there are some objects here that can replenish your basic needs. And funnily enough, you can still use your phone while in jail. After you serve some time in prison, a notification will pop up letting you know that you are free now and can leave the police station. Now your Zoe can start doing better things as a free Zoe or go back to crime if they want to. You cannot break out of the jail as of now, but one of the official streams said that it's gonna be a feature sometime later in the future. As shown before, Zoes will have their own schedules that you can customize. When you first go into their schedule menu, each Zoe will already have a planned schedule to go out somewhere each day on certain time. You can add your own schedule here and have them be on a certain location in certain time. If it's already time for the schedule to start, a notification will pop up and the Zoe will then automatically go to that area. Your work schedule will also be displayed here. You can cancel schedules or disable schedules for a specific day. This feature is perfect if you play with a lot of Zoes at once and want them to go somewhere without manually telling them to go there by planning it all beforehand. If you've interacted with another Zoe before, you can click on their portrait in the relationship panel here to check out your relationship log and shared memories. Relationship log notes down all the notable interactions you've done to them and how you feel about it, while shared memories show stronger events or memories between the two of you that you both share together, such as becoming enemies, getting enraged, becoming friends, etc. If you've known someone for a long time, the list can get pretty long and detailed, so it's a great feature if you want to reminisce about past interactions or track how both of their relationship has evolved over time. There's a 3D printer feature in inZOI if you go to build mode. Here, you can convert any pictures you have into the game as an actual 3D object as long as the object in the image appears clear and have desired details and depth for it to work properly. It will take some time to generate and when it's done, well, here it is. Yeah, it's not perfect. Sometimes the generated object doesn't really make sense if you check out the area around its back, but it's still pretty impressive. Anyway, once you've adjusted its position, you can then place it on your lot. You can also adjust its size here, but it's still pretty limited. These objects will only be decorations for your home.
Yes, see.
However, you can also change an already existing functional object's appearance with one of your 3D printed objects. Click on one of the objects you have, choose Edit Appearance, and then set the appropriate size for it. Want to sit on a giant sandwich? Well, it's possible now. Or do you want to replace one of your kids' toys with a Pokemon? Go ahead. These 3D printed objects can also be used on your Zoes. The same option will be available in Create a Zoe, and here you can attach them as accessories into different parts of your Zoe's bodies. You can also resize it and customize the placement for the objects on your Zoe in great detail. Once you've saved it, you can find it again in Custom Accessories category in case you want to use the same setup later. Just look at Emily here with her bizarre fashion statement. Damn it, Emily! This is also a perfect way to use actual objects that you have in real life, take pictures of it, and bring it straight to the game for you to use. Oh, and pictures of people in real life can also be converted here, but yeah, it's gonna be both hilarious and uncanny as heck. Like in the character creation, you can also customize the texture and color of objects in build mode. Certain objects already have preset textures like woods, metals, and marbles, and you can modify its color using color wheels and its properties like its glossiness, pattern scale, and pattern positioning. Some objects also have different parts that can be customized individually. And like before, you can even include your own pattern here if you have the image file and have it as your object's pattern. Whether you want a specific pattern you already have, bring out some pop culture reference, or even set pictures of you and your friends as the toilet lid, you name it. Walls and floorings can also be customized as well. They even have special effects like a see-through glass, or even these animated videos. Yes, you can also use custom textures on them. Besides that, you can also create custom furnitures by combining different parts to design a unique piece. So far, you can only customize dining chairs, computer desks, computers, floor lamps, and single beds. This allows for more personalization in furnishing your space. There's an optional feature in this game called Smart ZOI. It's a featured collaboration with NVIDIA and you can enable it in the settings. Keep in mind that this feature has higher hardware demand, so it's best to enable this while also lowering your graphics settings by one level. What does it do? It's basically autonomy for your ZOIs, but on steroids. Your ZOIs will still have autonomy without this feature enabled, but it's a whole different story with this. First off, they will now become more aware of their surroundings and choose which actions to do next based on their needs, traits, preferences, and values. You can now read their thoughts whenever they choose to do something and the reason they want to do that. This gives ZOI a much more deeper sense of realism and personality, making them feel more like an actual individual rather than just game characters. At the end of each day, they will give a summary of all the things they've done that day and their thoughts about it. Additionally, besides through their traits and preferences, you can also give text prompts to change your ZOI's thoughts and somewhat create their personalities. And they may even act accordingly based on the text you write. Like if you write a ZOI to be evil and chaotic, they may choose to do so from then on. However, it doesn't always work as expected. Like this one ZOI I tried to make super positive, but they still went around being mean to everyone. You can also write something nonsensical, like here I've written a ZOI that thinks that he's a cat, and now every action they take somehow ties to cats in his thoughts. But yeah, this feature is still heavily in development, and enabling this really thanks with the game's performance. I hope this will be optimized better in the future. You can set visual filters when you play inZOI. Besides realistic, you can have this lovely filter with pinkish tint to it, this cartoon filter which can be a great option if you want a less realistic graphics with inZOI. This also kinda eases the game's performance as well. There's this black and white cartoon filter. Then there's this miniature filter. You can also pick this fisheye lens for some comedy I guess. This note filter for a more pencil drawn image. This retro filter. And finally, this thriller filter for a more horror experience. Still, the cartoon filter is probably a better alternative in the long run. And finally, facial captures are also added to inZOI. To access this, you need to go through this menu and follow its instructions. Then you need to install this app on your iPhone. It's still not available for Android at the moment. After you go through it and connect your iPhone camera to your PC, your facial movement will now be replicated into the ZOI you're currently controlling in live mode. As you can see here, my ZOI in-game is actually mirroring my facial expressions in real time using facial capture from my phone camera. And yeah, it looks pretty dope, especially if you want to take pictures or capture specific cinematic footage. This facial capture feature can also be used when you're creating ZOIs. Heck yeah, look at my dance moves right now, woo! There are still so many features I want to show you guys, like the entire Edit City feature, applying to universities. ZOIs can randomly have a sleepwalking accident so bad that they book an expensive tour, they can get sick and spread it to others, and many more. But that may be for future videos if you're interested in them, because this video is already too long. So, what do you think about this feature so far? Are you interested on trying the game out, or are you not interested with it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much everyone for watching the video. I hope that you like it, and if you do, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. See you later!